When someone comes to you and shares about something painful, confusing, or is difficult to navigate, it can be hard to know what it is that you're supposed to do or say. On one hand, it is wonderful that they have trusted you and that they were brave enough to be able to reach out. This is a huge step and means that they are in a place where they're open to finding help. But on the other hand, for you, this might create a sense of discomfort or loss in knowing what to do or say next. I know because I have been there. While I love people a lot and care for them deeply, if I were to be honest, I have felt a significant amount of stress when I have been trusted with the harder part of someone else's story, but I didn't know what to do next. It isn't because I don't care, but because I do. The last thing that I would want to do is to do or say something which makes it worse or makes the person who is sharing with me feel worse about themselves and their story. So, how do you know what to say in those moments instead of offering the wrong words? I cannot say with a definite answer, but I do know that I have learned a few guiding principles which I now institute for myself when I am having these types of conversations. I don't do two things, and I do implement several others. I don't say I understand. I don't make it up. I do say if I am nervous. I do share if I need time to research, and I do ask them. I don't say I understand. Even if I want to relate with them, I do not let the first thing I say be that I understand where they are at and then hijack their moment of sharing with my own story. Especially if I have faced the same circumstances, I fight the temptation to jump into my own narrative, but instead let them work through the clumsy, awkward steps of learning language and how they talk about their own story. This doesn't mean that I don't relate with them. It simply means that it isn't my instant response or my quick fix. I let their emotions, their past, and their present take center stage versus my own. I don't make it up. Because I care for them, I often have felt the temptation to eliminate the pain. I often feel the need to find the solution as fast as possible so that they have relief as soon as possible. But this can lead to a slippery slope. It is easy to slip into cliches, non-helpful, simple answers, or to make up a solution without knowing if it actually fits. I have found it takes a while to lean into all of the various parameters of a story and the struggle surrounding it so that a long-term solution can not only be discovered, but also lived out effectively. I do say it if I am nervous. This might sound counterintuitive, but something that I have done when I enter into a conversation about really tough topics is to be honest about the moment. This must be done with great care, but I feel like the honesty has always been received well. This doesn't mean that I panic or that I show a great deal of emotion or that I make that moment all about me. Instead, I find that it looks a little bit like this. Allison, I am so glad that you shared with me. I know that took vulnerability and a lot of trust in me that you would even talk with me about it. I want you to know I care for you a lot. Because of that, I also want you to know that I'm really worried that I could say or do something that might make the situation worse. I believe that your story is really important, and I don't want to suggest a solution or try to give you advice in a way which would make you feel like I'm shutting you down or that I don't understand the truth of where you're actually at. Would you help me by letting me know if I ever make you feel like that? If that were to happen, I wouldn't be upset with you. I'd be grateful, and I want to learn more about how I can do better to understand your story. Would you be okay helping me through this and helping me as we work together? You see, the goal is to let them know that you don't have all the answers and that you could need more help in understanding the exact parts of their story. It also gives them permission to interject if they feel as if you are not understanding their viewpoint. I do share if I need time to research. The more I have had the opportunity to be there for others in their struggles, the more I realized there was a lot I did not know. I am not a professional, I am not licensed, and I don't have doctorates. I care, but I also have limits. I quickly recognized that I could not be the solution, but I could provide consistent care while I helped point others in the direction of what they needed. but knowing what those are takes time. Often, as I met with individuals and heard stories which involved intense or serious situations in which I was not qualified to provide professional support, I let them know that I was there to listen and to be there for them. But in order to know what the best options were, I was going to have to take some time to find it. This might feel as if you are letting someone down, but I've actually found that while I want to move towards a solution fast, often others aren't ready to. They need time to work through it. What I've discovered is that they want first a safe place in order to share. Now that I can always offer. Solutions and action often take a little bit more time. I have always desired to use that time to be best equipped on my end by researching the topic, finding articles of others who have experienced it and then found healing or solutions, reading first-hand accounts, researching how professionals handle similar cases, and finding what resources, tools, and support options are available so that I am then ready if I have the chance to point someone that I care for towards any of those helps. I ask them. Lastly, I ask someone if what I have shared helps, makes them feel confused, or makes them feel understood. It can hurt at times because sometimes they will say no, but I would rather know that they don't feel heard or understood versus me imagine that we connected when we didn't. If I did miss the mark, I simply ask them to help me understand where it is in their story that they're actually at. Then I go a bit slower and I ask a lot of clarifying questions and say things such as, I feel like you were telling me that you feel like this. Is that right? Or is it something else? Or I will say something along the lines of, I hear you saying that the hardest part about this moment is this element. Is that the heart of what you feel is hard right now? Or could it be something else? This whole process can be a little bit of a back and forth, especially when someone has not processed their story fully. They're still learning language on how to tell it. They might feel one way about it in one moment and then change it the next. While that can be frustrating, I always try to allow them because I know that they are working through it too. I recognize that they may not have all of the language yet or perspective to be able to tell their story linearly or know all of the details that have been surfacing. This is where clarifying questions can help me throughout my time with them, and why asking them if I understood has always helped me to feel as if I had the best footing that I could in order to understand the best that I could.